My heart is just to show people if you are going through a hard time in your life, fitness can be the answer.
I look at myself one day in the mirror and be like, who am I to tell this kid he needs to do those things when I've honestly been lazy?
You also know there's like the satisfaction of knowing I built this physique from scratch.
I was proud of myself, and that felt really good for a change. And feeling that, I got addicted to that feeling.
We're all addicts. No matter what anybody thinks, we're all addicts. It's something that you're consistently doing, like a habit, an addiction, whatever it is. If I'm going to have one, at least I'm choosing a good one.
Chose something that was going to actually build things, build inside yourself, because the most satisfying thing about fitness is feeling proud of yourself.
You can shift a feeling by movement. That's why I think fitness is so powerful.
Are you the person who finished? Did you make it through? Because it's all just about everything in life. Whenever you see it, what does it say? 1% better.
I stopped growing when I got comfortable. You're not going to truly grow unless you put yourself in uncomfortable situations. In fitness, if you do it right, it is very uncomfortable.
Your circle, just as much as your partner, has a huge impact on if you're going to be successful or not. When it comes to fitness and feeling like you're constantly failing and you don't like your body and you're depressed, you're disgusted by it, whatever it is, I've been there. I don't want you to feel alone. I'm tired of women feeling alone and like it's just them.
Everything feels out of control. Fitness is the one thing you can control. And that does give a level of confidence.
I kept blaming not being able to lose weight on those circumstances until one day for a week, I wrote down everything I had been eating, everything I had been doing activity-wise. And it's like, this is why you're fat.
There are small habits. If you can just start being honest with yourself, it may start with fitness, but it'll go over to your relationships, your family life, your social life, your financial life, your work life. It'll bleed over into everything.
I just want women to know there's a very normal way to weight loss. Yes, there's a beautifully curated way that social media can portray it, and it can take hours and hours to do. There's also a very easy way.
Never stop learning. That's one thing that I pride myself on. I'm forever a student. I walk into everything like I have no idea what I'm doing, even if I have some knowledge of it, because I don't know what I could learn. So come in ready to learn.
An exploration of trauma, transformation, and triumph. Your healing starts here. On Through the Trauma podcast, we don't just talk about transformation, we ignite it. This season, I'm inviting you to something extraordinary. It's called the burn ceremony. Picture this, a guided, powerful ritual where we symbolically burn away all of the old versions of yourself that's no longer serving you. This is not just a ceremony, it's a rebirth. A chance to let the flames of transformation forge you into your new identity. And whether you're ready to break old chains or step into your next level of unstoppable, this is your moment. Join us for the burn ceremony and experience a shift like never before. Head on over to our website at www.burnitceremony.com and claim your spot, because this year, we're going to rise from the ashes together. And we are back with another episode of Through the Trauma podcast. I am Amber, your host, and today I have some very, very special guests with me, and I'll get into exactly why they are so special. But first, let me introduce you to Kayla and Chris. Kayla is a friend of mine. This girl has been a fitness inspiration since day one, since I met her. She has the physique of a goddess, really, and she is vegan. So if you've ever wondered if you can build a Roman god physique on a vegan diet, I'm here to tell you, you can. And we're going to get to know Kayla a little bit, but the other person you'll see on this podcast episode is Chris. And Chris and I met through a group, and I was just so utterly impressed by her social media and just watching her. She's a fitness influencer. She always is producing constant content about food and diet and exercise, and we just connected. Obviously, we all three are very passionate about fitness, but before we get into all of that, ladies, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you for having us.
All right. So, Kayla, let's start with you. Tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Born and raised in Tennessee, grew up with the standard Tennessee diet and playing outside, and found the gym about 5 years ago, and it truly turned my life around.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I've seen this girl's transformation. It's impressive, to say the least.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi. So I guess non-personal. So of course, or personal, I full-time working mom. Life is extremely busy and it's hectic, all the things that are in between. I found myself about a year ago, I was over 200 pounds. I was depressed. I was just dealing with a lot of mental health stuff and found that I don't call myself a fitness influencer. I feel like I'm so micro in a sense of that. But that was what started it for me, was that when I was on social media, I found myself getting in such a deeper pit because I saw what seemed like perfectly curated lives and fitness lifestyle that I could never obtain. And didn't feel like I had it all together. And so that's what kind of put me on my journey of just wanting to authentically share what I was going through and as I struggled through my 40-pound weight loss.
And some of the most probably authentic content that I think I've ever really seen online is you sharing. And I think that's what really attracted me to you and your content specifically, is because content is so curated. But yours was so imperfectly perfect, very real. I'm just going to put it out here, and I think people relate to that. And I love that when influencers can do that. And I know you don't call yourself that. I call you that. And I'm going to continue to. So we want to talk today, we want to get into fitness and some things about fitness specifically. Have some amazing, great news that we're going to release a little bit later. But I just really want to ask these girls, like, you're passionate about fitness. We all three are very passionate about fitness, probably for different reasons or for different purposes that we've had in our life or whatever. Can you talk a little bit about your passion and kind of where that's come from? Chris, let's start with you.
Yeah. So I was always an athlete growing up. I mean, it was from softball, volleyball, tennis, basketball, everything in between. I played tennis in college, so I stayed really active during that. Right after college, I started a job at a weight loss facility that really transformed my life when I saw young kids being impacted through lifestyles, how they're being raised, and just how fitness really impacted them on bringing in self-confidence and exposure on how to take care of yourself, because there's not always going to be someone there to take care of you, and making good decisions for yourself. And so that started to shape and mold my love for fitness on a different level of just the W. So it was always, for me before, it was, well, I'm athletic, so I'm here to be into fitness to win. And then later it shifted into, I'm into fitness because it's changing young kids' lives. And then as adults, now it's shifted into women and wanting to impact women who were in similar situations as I was before, and trying to help them find a way that might look a little bit different than, say, Kayla's routine in life, because ours are going to be drastically different in her high performing fitness. And then what I kind of call my small habit stacking wins, that still give me that W that I crave, but also just influencing and helping women to just be the best version of themselves that they can through health and wellness.
I love that.
Love
I
that.
so love that. Yeah. Kayla, why don't you tell us about you?
My fitness journey started about 5 years ago when I found myself in a very unhealthy place, and mentally and physically. And truly, I woke up one day and I thought, enough's enough. And something popped in my head, and it was just, I had tried dieting, I had tried different forms of exercise, I never stuck with anything. And I remember that day thinking, what happens if I don't quit? I know what happens when I do. I've been here a million times. I know exactly what happens when I quit. What happens if I don't? And since that day, I can honestly say I haven't. And my schedule is very robotic. I mean, it is definitely not for some people. I'm single. I have the time and the space and the energy to, I'm not chasing around a family. So I have that time that I can commit. But it's still a very hard thing, because making yourself commit that hard every day, day in and day out, it's non-negotiable. You get the job done. It transformed me as a person. It transformed how I looked at discipline, at what my body was capable of, at what my mind was capable of. And it changed my mindset on so many things in life. And I truly wouldn't be who I am today without it.
Yeah, and I can relate to that as well. And I think that's why we just kind of align on a lot of levels, Kayla. Those of you who've watched the podcast, and if you haven't, then I'm just going to give a quick spiel, but I'm not going to go into this specifically about myself because I've talked about it on other episodes. But I got into fitness long ago, because I was skinny. I hated my body. I felt like I was like lanky and just, I got made fun of for being skinny. People think it's fine to make fun of skinny people because you're on the opposite spectrum. I really struggled with that. So I ended up getting into fitness to gain weight. Did gain weight. I gained muscle, loved fitness, got out of it, went through a really tough time in my life, got out of it a little bit, and then jumped back into it, but didn't want to get into it on that level. So I'd started doing photography. I started shooting fitness photography because I had a passion for fitness. Then I would hear these stories of transformation from clients that I would shoot. And what I began to notice is that fitness was not just a physical thing. There were so many other facets to fitness, and people used fitness not just to lose weight or to gain weight or to do whatever with their weight. And what most people that get really serious into fitness will tell you is that you get into it for the vanity, but you learn so much through the process that you fall in love with it. And I can't speak for every person. I don't think that's the experience every person has, but people that have jumped into fitness and it's been a real instrument in their life, I feel like a lot of people attest to that. And my heart is just to show people that if you are going through a hard time in your life, fitness can be the answer. That can be the addiction that you seek. And there are some negative connotations to the addiction of fitness. We all know that. However, I would much rather adopt an addiction to fitness than an addiction to alcohol, drugs, sex, or whatever other thing that people get addicted to. And that was my story. I got addicted to fitness. I got addicted to the process. And Kayla, what you were saying, it's so true. I got addicted to the mental and the discipline and all the things that went into it. And I'm still passionate to this day, even with every other thing I'm doing, business and this podcast and all the things that I'm doing, because fitness is still instrumental in my life. And if I didn't have it, don't know that I would be here, to be honest with you. So there's 3 different stories.
It balances out the structure of your life. When you have, I feel like that in your routine, it makes everything else kind of fall into place.
Absolutely.
You show up for yourself.
Yeah. And even what you said, Chris, being a mom and juggling, chasing a kid around, being a mom and juggling, then your kids get older and you're driving them to practices, driving them to events and driving them to meet their friends and all these things. And it's like, it's busy.
Yeah.
But fitness teaches you how to compartmentalize.
Mhm.
Even in your situation, Kayla, like it's taught you that, because life, no matter what age or stage you're in, it gets busy. You got stuff to do,
And it gets busy, but I also think it sets the example because it's really easy in life. And as I've gotten older and spent more decades on this earth, you realize that you let a lot of time pass. And when you look back, it's like, well, what did I really achieve during that time? What was I doing to benefit myself? Did I really just sit there and scroll a bunch? I love social media, of course, obviously, but did I spend more time than I needed just consuming versus being an impact or doing something to help me grow? Whether that's, I've tried to read a lot more, but just the influence that it is for my son. That was kind of one of my biggest whys on why I had no choice. I needed to change my life. And so we jump in coaching our son's team and I'm pushing over 200 pounds and I'm on the sideline coaching him saying, run faster, be quicker. You need to hustle harder. And I'm saying these things to him. And I kind of look at myself one day in the mirror and be like, who am I? Who am I to tell this kid he needs to do those things when I've honestly been lazy, so lazy, haven't taken care of myself, neglected myself in every possible way. And yes, we're going through these hard seasons that are the culprit that kind of get you to where you are. But at the end of the day, it's not an excuse. Because no matter how much time Kayla has and you have and I have, and it looks different on paper, there's still always 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes that you can give to taking care of yourself and being the better example for them. And I just couldn't sit with that knowing, honestly, I just can't be the fat parent on the sidelines. And telling my kid that, and I'm sorry if it comes off a little blunt, but that was honestly my eye-waking reality moment of this is just not okay. Whether it's 2 hours in the gym or it's 30 minutes, there's a discipline in taking care of yourself that is such a great impact for our youth, for our kids, for our family members.
And so it brings up a point that I actually want to ask you because I was thinking of it as you were talking. How do you think, I have my own thoughts on this, but I'm curious your thoughts. If we're disciplined and we're consistent with fitness, it's going to change your physique and you start feeling a little more confident. How do you guys think that confidence plays out in day-to-day life?
I can lead with that because when I started, I didn't get into fitness for the physical transformation, unlike most, which is a little different. I got into it because I didn't know who I was in my head anymore. I was just in a weird spot mentally and I couldn't figure out who I was. And the only thing I could think to do was to start showing up for myself. And the physical transformation came, whether I wanted it to or not, when I kept showing up and being consistent. And that created a different level of confidence. I wouldn't say I'm the most confident person by any means, but it was different about how I felt about my body. And I think when you really get into fitness, you are even more critical on your body because you know if you've been to different places in fitness, you know where you've been and you can get back there. And there's different elements to that. But I think communicating with people, when you're confident in your body, there's something that goes unsaid. It's like an unspoken confidence because it's not just vain, it's a confidence of the discipline and the commitment that you've made. It's a confidence in who you've become through these actions. It's not just vanity. It's completely internal, but it's a very, very big shift. It was for me.
I think what I'm hearing you say, and I've actually meditated on this a lot, is this idea of confidence. We build confidence through consistently doing the thing that we say we're going to do. That's how we build confidence. If I'm going to build confidence in myself and I say I'm going to read 5 books this year and then I don't read any, I've just hit a notch of like backwards in my confidence. Versus if I say I'm going to read 5 books or I'm going to go to the gym every day at this time or I'm going to do whatever, the more that you do that, building confidence is like a muscle. So the more that we do that, the more it's building that confidence in ourselves. So it really bypasses while yes, you can have a beautiful physique and that does change your confidence. It does. But you also know there's like the satisfaction of knowing I built this physique from scratch. I sat in the gym every day. I showed up every day. I cooked the food and prepped the food. I did these things. That gives you a whole nother layer of confidence. It's actually even much deeper than visually how you look.
Absolutely. But one thing that I noticed in that is when I laid down in bed at night, I was proud of myself. And that felt really good for a change. And feeling that, I got addicted to that feeling. I got addicted to feeling proud of what I had done that day and what I hadn't done that day.
And that's beautiful. I love fitness for that reason because it's like you can actually see what's happening. I mean, yeah, you don't see it on a daily basis, but if you're consistent for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for a year, and you're consistent with that, you're going to change. And it's great, I think, for people to see that. All right, Chris, what are your thoughts on confidence?
So I had one thing. Your other question was in regards to like the mental side of it. And I wanted to note, I thought about when Kayla was talking, a biggest thing for me was life felt out of control. And so I felt like, and I was going through therapy, talking to my therapist about it. And that's what always kept up. I was in a season where nothing was in my control. And as a kind of a type A personality, it was very hard for me in that season. And fitness and my health was the one thing that I could control. You know, I could control what I was eating. I could control the workout, what I did in that moment. I could control, okay, I'm going to have success in this moment, no matter what else is going on, no matter what else feels disarray at that time. I could control that. And knowing that like I could control the weights and exactly what they did and the movements gave me that sense of peace that I needed in such a chaotic time. And it's crazy when you really think about it that something like lifting a weight can bring you such peace. I mean, also the side of being able to slam a weight down, let me tell you, like when I hit a PR, that is the most confidence driven thing for me. I am seeking after that so much to where Saturdays are my PR days because I have more time to work out. So I can give myself, because you're switching out weights, you know, a lot more stretching beforehand. And so I have more time to do it. And the playlist is ready. You know, I've picked out the perfect songs to do it to. And when I'm hitting PRs and I'm able to, especially, you know, when you're in that baby stage and it's happening a lot more often, that's confidence right there. Like just as a woman too, to know I'm in the Lowe's parking lot and I can load sheetrock into my own, like, I don't need you. I can put this sheetrock in myself. Like that is such a confidence driven thing that you never knew you'd get from it. But definitely the part of just in a very uncontrolled time of my life, to know I had the control over my body, over lifting the weights, just made me feel peace, made me feel the slight control that I needed. And it really did give me a huge confidence boost. And it's similar to what you said about the more you do it, the more muscle memory. We were just talking about this with my son. So he's 6 and he's very athletic. And we talk about he just lacks confidence. But again, he's 6. So what experience and exposure does he have in this sport that he's been doing for a month or 2 months or whatever it is? And so I'm listening to again, I follow a lot of sports broadcasters and speakers and motivational speakers. And so this guy's speaking to a team in a basketball arena, and he says, who's going to have more confidence? The guy who's been on the bench all season, or the guy that's been out there, he's working and he's putting in 300 shots a day and he's just shooting every day in his off time. Who's going to have more confidence? And I think that's kind of what started me on just like, put yourself out there, girl. Put yourself out there, do the work. And eventually this low self-esteem you have, like it's going to come back, but you can't get confidence. You can't have a glow up, which is how Amber and I met through that great group. You can't have that glow up, the things that you're desiring, if you never make a step or a change towards it. You want to save money, but you never put $1 away. Well, what do you expect is going to happen? And so I think that's where the confidence comes from, is just simply doing. And it's honestly the easiest thing we can. It's just like my 6-year-old son, we're scared. It's new. We don't know what to do because we haven't done it before.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you said one thing that I think all three of us can relate to, is when everything feels out of control, fitness is the one thing you can control. And that does give a level of confidence. I'm glad you said it like that, because that's something that you kind of know, but you need someone to state that. It's like, oh yeah, that does do that. But it really does. It builds so much confidence. Because I used fitness. When I went through my divorce, I felt that exact thing. This is the only control I have. I have no control over what's going to happen, what we're going to lose, who's he going to date. I had no control over any of that stuff. So the only thing I had control over, my body, my physique, what I put in my mouth, how much I lifted, how much I went to the gym. And if I didn't have it in that time, I would have gone crazy.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's an addiction. We're all addicts. No matter what anybody thinks, we're all addicts. Some of us just might, genetically, we have a little bit more of a higher addictive personality, but we're all addicts in some sort. If you pop a Diet Coke every day at lunchtime, you're addicted to Diet Coke. Like you don't think about it, but you are. If you have to, always open social media, it's something that you're consistently doing, like habit, an addiction, whatever it is. So it's like you said, if I'm going to have one, at least I'm choosing a good one. I'm choosing one that's making me better, hopefully going to make other people better, make my family healthier. So you have to pick your addiction.
I like that.
Second that. Look at how many people go around Starbucks because they're addicted to a caramel macchiato, and they need it every day. At least we chose something that was going to actually build inside yourself, because I think that's the most satisfying thing about fitness, is feeling proud of yourself, because so many people in the world right now, I don't think they do. And if people were more satisfied with who they are, there wouldn't be as much going on in the world as we see today.
And you can use fitness as a Band-Aid. It can be a Band-Aid. When you're going through a rough time, you can use that as a Band-Aid, the same way that people would use an alcohol
It's been a
addiction
full-on tourniquet for me this year.
Well, and what's funny about that, I will say this. I have walked with Kayla, and I have seen this woman become a superhero in the last year. And I can relate to that, because I got in the best shape of my life when I went through my divorce. Again, going back to what we just mentioned, because now you can control that. When everything else is chaos, now you can control it. Kayla and I work out together way too early, okay? But when I watch this girl come in at 4 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning, and she's in there with like high energy and doing all the things, but I've watched her physique shift. And and the reason I'm saying that is because if you are struggling with any type of thing, I'm really big on energy and emotions. And obviously this podcast, I in my mind, I'm constantly meditating on how all this stuff connects. And Tony Robbins says that emotions are energy in motion. And I truly believe that you can shift a feeling by movement. That's why I think fitness is so powerful. If I feel horrible, I can shift that feeling through movement. And I've been at some of Tony Robbins' seminars, and I've seen him do this where he'll have the crowd like, okay, everybody's tired. It's after lunch, da 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 da. And he's like, get up. And he plays this loud music and he has everybody jump up and down and you're just going nuts. And he's like, now sit down. Like, how do you feel? Tell me you don't feel more invigorated. And it's true. And I can't tell you the amount of times I feel tired. I'm going through perimenopause. I feel tired sometimes. I don't want to go to the gym. I wake up, I feel exhausted. But guess what? When I go, I feel so much better when I leave. That motion will transform your energy.
That's a very real thing. And it's a very real thing just from your body standpoint because of the chemicals your body releases during heavy sets or afterwards. And I've heard people say, you know, they get so tore up in traffic and then they go work out. And as soon as, you know, somebody could cut them off as soon as they leave the gym and they're like, go on, have a good day, buddy. Hope you get there faster, you know? And it's a very real thing because your body chemically responds to exercise and breathing. And the way you're breathing heavier, I mean, it's true.
Yeah, it's like Amber and I too have said that our best thoughts have come in the middle of a workout. So it's like we're in the middle of a set working out and it's like, hold on, I got to write that down. Like I need to put this in my notes down before I forget it.
All I can think is don't die during a set. And you two are the type of people that are like, I just wrote my memoir.
Yeah.
This shows the mindset.
Yeah, it's the one time. So otherwise, all throughout the rest of the day, my mind is going a mile a minute. So like, even in the middle of work, it's like, wait, I have to make sure I add this to the grocery list. Like, okay, what time is this for practice? And you have 1,000 things going through your mind. But once I like get down into the basement, it's everything kind of goes quiet for once. And my mind can actually just not have a thought on taking care of someone else or something else or a project deadline to where it's such clarity, you know, that my mind can actually, God can start to just implant things on me and start talking to me when I've kind of blocked that all day because everything else is going on in the background of my mind.
Yeah, it helps me organize my thoughts because I think I have is it ADHD? Whatever it is where you have racing thoughts constantly, that's me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be funny. Like, seriously, I think that I used to hate that about myself. I'm like, my mind is always somewhere. And fitness is the only time I feel like it can slow down and I can put it into like organize it. It's weird, but I think that I'm like that because when I go into the gym, I don't have to think of anything except lifting. So that's when I do get my best thoughts when you're not trying to force them. Because I am a creature of force. I come from a very masculine like belief system. Like we're gonna fight through this. I'm gonna fight through it. I'm gonna push through this thing, no matter how tired, no matter how exhausted, whatever. I'm gonna just do it. And I'm learning in my older years that you can't do that. That's not productive. It lasts for a little while, but it's not productive in the long term because you get burned out and I get overwhelmed. I've experienced both burnout and overwhelm. I'm learning how to be a little bit more of my feminine, which is a little bit more of the flow, like letting things flow. And I think that fitness is a great gauge. If you have a personality like me and Chris, where our best ideas come in the gym, or you have an idea, if you have a personality like Kayla, where all she's thinking about is her next lift and am I going to die? Regardless, the gym it's
just true fear.
It's still balancing. It's a balancing system. No matter where you're coming from, it's a sense of balance, I feel like.
What you said too about knowing kind of how to pull back. And that's something that I'm dealing with right now. Even this weekend that we're recording this is I'm taking 2 rest days in a row. And that's something I haven't done maybe twice in the last 5 years. And I'm just a very, scheduled person. I'll say that, very much type A. And pulling back is a very hard thing too, but running yourself into the ground is not where it's at. Like if you do have, just for normal life, if you do have physique goals, but something happens or you get caught up with family things where it's okay. It's okay to take a day, to take 2 days. All your progress is not stalled. I think we think that one day off is going to ruin everything. And that's why a lot of people get stuck in cycles where they just go straight back down, and they come up a little bit and then they go right back down because they think that 1 or 2 days ruined it. And it's a very real mindset that people get in. And if you can just see that this is life and I'm just shifting around it, it's a great place to understand it from. But it's also very hard. That's a very hard thing because I think humans in general, we're all in, all or nothing most of the time. And if we fall short of that, we feel like we've let ourselves down.
That speaks to me so much. That was my personality for 2 years, was a constant yo-yo, I felt like. Because if especially, you jump into the mom balance of life and they get sick and then you get them better and then you get what they were sick with and you feel like it's just a constant thing in the house. And before you know it, those 2 days can turn into 10 or 14, 21 days real quick because then the vacation was scheduled, all the things kind of line up. And I had that mentality of if I can't do this perfectly because what I did before. So the vigorous athlete side of me was like, you work out 5, 6 days a week and this is what it's supposed to look like. Well, then when I shifted into my later 30s and life was a little bit different for me, when I couldn't do it like I did before, I didn't know how. And if I couldn't do
Yes.
it the perfect way, then I couldn't do it at all because I constantly felt like a failure. And feeling like a failure for me made me just want to hide even more and, not do anything, which is awful because like we all know, something is better than nothing. And so it was a huge mind shift set for me that had to take place to understand, hey, you're not Chris from before you were 30. You're a different person now. You have a different lifestyle now. And life is very uncontrollable. And like you said, sometimes you just need the rest day, whatever it is. And you have to learn to shift. You have to learn to change your mindset and know there's a different way that you can still do this and be successful.
It's called grace. I
Mhm.
think it's called grace.
Yep.
Like give ourselves
Is that
grace.
the word? Is that the word for that? I've been struggling with it.
So what you guys are saying is so true, right? Because Kayla and I did this version of 75 hard recently, and our versions look very different. Okay, don't come after me because we did it a little different.
We
Okay, than the
we made
normal
our own.
75 hard.
We should have picked a different name. We made our own.
That's true. We should have picked a different name. We didn't. But I'm bringing this up because 75 hard, there's a rule that says if you fail in one day, if you don't do the thing that you're supposed to do, you have to start all over. And I see the value of that, but then I also feel like so many people will get discouraged. If I don't
Yes.
drink the exact drops of water that I'm supposed to drink that day, then I got to start all over back to 75. I did not do it perfectly. And I mean, I did change the rules some, but the rules that I had set for myself that I was going to do every day, I did not do it perfectly. I fell off numerous times. But I said, you know what? I'm going to push through these 75 days. I'm not going to start back over. Again, I'm not a rule breaker, okay? I said I'm not going to start back over, but I am going to finish out the 75 days. If I fall off one day, I'm just going to get back on and start back on the next day. Now, I know people will say, no, you did 75 hard all wrong, but I have mixed feelings about that because I feel like
Look how much
people,
farther you made it in those 75 days than where you were. That's what matters. In your life, how much did you learn and grow in those 75 days, regardless of what it looked like?
learning is huge. And yes, I did learn a lot, but I made real changes. And I think that's the goal with 75. That's why I actually asked
Absolutely.
ChatGPT this, like why 75 days? Because there is a scientific thing that happens in our brains of reframing, and it takes that 75 days for our brain to reframe into starting a new way of life. And so I'm drinking a whole lot more water than I was before I
Love
started
that.
because I don't like water,
I hammered
but
down
I
on
drink it.
people about that.
Well, I'm drinking more, so give me a pat on the back.
Proud of you.
And I'm also tracking. I'm tracking my food, and which is another thing that I loathe. I do not like to track my food. I like to get in a maintenance area intuitively. And I've done fitness for so long, I feel like I can eyeball it. But we all know you can only do that to an extent. So, bottom line is this 75 days, do it, push through it, keep doing it. I think it's a great program. I think it's a great thing to do. Whatever you're trying to do, set your goal, do it for the set amount of time. When you're done with that, you're going to create new habits in your life. And that's the beautiful thing
It's
about it.
persistent. It's persistency, that you've created where
Yes.
you could have just fallen off like I failed today, which I've been there. I failed today, so I don't want to start over. I've started over 5 times. And that's a really hard thing when you keep having to start over and start over. And it is a huge discipline thing. But that's also why you have Navy SEALs. And then there's me in this world. There's two totally different people. And that's okay. You don't have to be the Navy SEAL. You don't have to be the person who does 75 hard perfectly. Are you the person who finished? Like, did you finish? Did you make it through? Because it's all just about everything in life. Whenever you see it, what does it say? 1% better. Did I just get 1% better? And when you look at your whole life, that's such a small change that you have to make every day. So just like the more water, but which is impactful just on your overall, your skin, your health and wellness inside your body and everything for long term when you think of life 20 years from now. And so I think it's a good thing no matter how you finish it or how you adapt it when they say like 75 soft. You know, it's something. It's just finding something that gives your mind the mental win. That's what you need. Like we go back to saying that was the confidence builder to where now you can do the things that you weren't doing before.
And Amber knows this about me. Like, I don't know if it's because I track my food, like I pack my food in the mornings at unreasonable hours or what, but I have been doing this for 5 years, every single meal pretty much. Okay. And I can't eyeball a measurement to save my life. Every day I put the same amount of grams in that bowl and I have tried to guess it. I'm like, I bet I'm close. Nope. So sometimes I just do it because I know, I mean, honestly, I can't eyeball it. I have no idea. I wish I could intuitively eat one day, but I don't know if I'll ever get there. I think I would accidentally undereat if I did that.
So
So you don't have to be perfect by the scale if you know you can't eyeball it like me.
So this is funny because it brings up a really good point too. It's that there are frames of thought and everybody is going to come into fitness at a different level. Everybody's going to go through the process of their fitness journey on a different time schedule. You're not competing against other people unless you're doing a bodybuilding competition, then you are, but you're not really you're competing more against yourself. And the idea is what happens when you take a situation and you're consistent with it, you're building that muscle. So every day that I make a decision to do XYZ or whatever that thing is, that's more of building a muscle. So regardless if you track and manage food like I do, you track and manage food like Chris does, or you track and manage food like Kayla does. Regardless, there is a frame of thought like we have to be hard enough on ourselves that we are doing the thing, but we have to have grace when we let ourselves down too. Like, don't let that stop you from hitting your goals. Don't let that stop you from getting to where you want to go. And regardless of where you are, the more that you do it, the more you're going to build that mental muscle of that habit. So you should always strive to do the things that make you feel good, make you healthy and well and happy and functionable, like you said, Chris, from being able to put stuff in your car at Home Depot, like just being able to function. And it's a beautiful thing.
David Goggins on something that he said, everybody asked him, like, why did you start taking this up? Why did you take up this? Like, he's out fighting fires in the middle of nowhere now, like these crazy fires, but he didn't have to do that, and he said, because I stopped growing when I got comfortable. He said, I can run, like, he's not going to get, if you're extremely good at something and you're good at it and you stay in that lane, you're not going to truly grow unless you put yourself in uncomfortable situations. In fitness, if you do it right, it is very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable day in and day out. I don't know anybody that would go in and go, oh, it just feels so good. No, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to grow.
And that's why I love fitness as well, because it's a real test. It's a testament of how strong your mentality truly is. And it's a test to yourself. I know I'm the only one that's going to know if I hit that PR. I'm the only one that's going to know if I'm really pushing it in the gym. I'm the one that knows when I'm lying to myself and saying, no, it's all hormonal. I'm a victim of perimenopause. And I've said it. I've been there. That's the thing. I've been there, and I know in my heart, I know when I'm slacking, and then I know when I need to have grace and mercy on myself, because I literally can't. If like Chris, like you said earlier, if my kid's sick and then I'm sick and then everybody in our house is sick and maybe I can't get to the gym. Like, I live on a hill, a huge hill. So I give myself grace when it snows. I'm like, you know what? I go to the gym. I don't take rest days except days that I cannot get to the gym. And that's just my philosophy. I'm on a different place in fitness right now because I really use fitness for that exact reason what you just said, Kayla. Like, I want to be uncomfortable because that's what's going to help me grow in the other areas of my life. I've achieved really what I want to achieve in fitness. However, like I said, it's a journey. And right now I am on a fitness journey, a small fitness journey within that big picture fitness journey. But I want to use that uncomfortable part to to build the confidence, to build the mindset, and to know that I can do hard things, that
Mhm.
I'm that person.
How would you ever know if you're any good if it's too hard for you to try? So you just stay in your lane with cakes and you just consistently do that when really you could have blown up a muffin business over here, but you'll never know because it was hard, or
Mhm.
uncomfortable. What were you going to say, Chris?
I was going to say that I would listen to a really controversial podcast that someone had
Oh,
mentioned
we love
that when it
that.
came to interviewing their employees, that they actually were more lean to ones because you get to know somebody, they're asking you interview questions like, "What do you do in your spare time?" and just kind of tell me some things that you're into. The individual who showed the discipline just in their physique and said that they worked out regularly, they were more likely to get hired than somebody who was overweight and didn't have that as a habit because they saw the person who did work out and take care of themselves as more dedicated of an individual. That in this particular role that was sales and closing deals, they felt like the other person can take care of themselves on a daily basis, that they see their body as a vessel. They're going to take care of my company the same way. They're going to treat my clients the same way. They're going to see their projects the same way. And the comic section was just, I mean, I
I bet
read
it
through
went
that for quite a while.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, but I could really see the standpoint and just there is a different level in the person's confidence and abilities when you do have that dedication because there's a different drive. Even Kayla, I can only imagine if I watched Kayla in her job and how you perform because you're such a high performer outside of work that to see you in that element,
It's the
I
same.
do feel like you're probably different than other people around you in your role because you have such a highly driven mentality and that makes a difference all the way through. I feel like you can just see it in different areas that the person who's more disciplined, you're going to see in other aspects of their life as well.
Comes out in every area of your life. I think it bleeds into everything, relationships and anything. And as a single woman as well, I'm not being shallow dating, but if you can't take care of yourself, how can you expect me to believe that you can take care of me? So,
Hmm.
it just goes both ways. Like, I want a partner that takes care of himself, that's going to live a long, healthy life, eventually. And I think it bleeds into every part of your life, whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, and I've said this as well. I've actually had that same thought because when I first got divorced, I thought to myself, I'm fine. I'm not going to discriminate or judge people. When I got back out on the dating field, I was like, I'm not going to discriminate. And I tried dating people that didn't work out. And I come to the conclusion of just that. Like I put a lot of time, energy, effort into my body and into my physique. What I notice is that how someone does one thing is how they do everything. So if you don't work out, not only are you going to affect my going to the gym or how much time I food prep or what I'm doing, it's going to affect me. But secondly, it's going to cause resentment.
At the very least, you want somebody that will truly support you, whether you're choosing to get a diet soda at dinner or a water or, the chicken instead of the spaghetti. You want somebody that's going to support you and encourage you to do those things. And listen, everybody gets health issues. We're not talking like, if you have diabetes, we can't date. We're talking like you just want somebody that has those priorities for growth and for physical growth and for mental growth. And it's not as common as it used to be. I think people just get very set in their
Hmm.
ways and they forget that life just kind of moves around them instead of them taking control of their own life. Life happens. I want to know
Even
if a health scare happens, that I know where my body's at, that I know I stay on top of my blood work. So I saw this coming. I was able to get ready for this. Or, I think you should be prepared.
even when you say that for a partner and what you're looking for in that aspect and having that support and knowing that that equally yoke it's still there, between you and whatever partner you choose. It's the same as our other circles of friends. And so you think about, like you said, if you're going out to dinner and like you're not drinking, but the person is still persistent on like, no, you want to drink, drink with us. And it's like, hey, I'm not drinking, that's just something I'm not doing. And if you don't have somebody that can understand that or be like, hey, I'm prepping my food. Like we've gone to dinner with people and I've taken my meal prep into the Mexican restaurant. And they know they've seen me do it a few times. The waitress just laughs, and she doesn't say anything. So they're so sweet about it. But if your friends were to judge you and not make you feel accepted because of that, or be like, aren't you ever just going to eat with us? Can't you just eat this? And it's like, this is my goal. If you had a goal, to save money or do whatever, and I'm encouraging you, like, oh no, just go spend it on this. Don't save your money to buy a house. Why would you ever want to do that? Why do people feel like they can do that to others on the fitness side? And so your circle, just as much as your partner, has a huge impact on if you're going to be successful or not. And I think that's how they always say when it comes to people building businesses. They're with like-minded people who are doing those same things because it's encouraging you on a daily basis. You're talking about that. You're growing from that. I can't tell you how much my motivation has shifted just in this last month or two from talking to the two of you. Like, it has shifted so much more just because we're talking about it all the time. We're talking about fitness and how it's going to impact women and all these things that the fire in you just burns even greater when you're with other women doing the same thing.
And so
100%.
this brings this about a little turn in our conversation here, because it's not just fitness that the three of us have been talking about. We are so passionate about fitness. And just from this conversation, I hope that anyone listening to this can truly see that. And not only are we passionate about fitness, but I feel like we all are probably have some level of empathy and, empaths in some level. So we really genuinely want to see people thrive and do well. And I know that fitness has the capacity to kickstart that journey. Now, everybody has to be ready. You have to be ready to start your fitness journey, and that's fine. I would never push anyone that was not ready. But I do think it builds a very strong mindset and a very strong person. And some of that is visual, but it's way deeper than just visual. It's not just visual. You're building so much more of just your growth in general. So with that being said, there's some great news. Which one of you guys want to tell the great news? Or you want me to say it?
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
So the three of us are launching a group called Relentless. And this is one of the phases of creation that we really have. I feel like this is one phase that is going to really cater into people wanting fitness goals, wanting fitness support, people looking to be challenged, not just on getting your body in shape, but to get challenged in your mindset, to get challenged in becoming your best version of yourself and using fitness to do that. If you're struggling through something, if you feel stuck, if you feel you're going through some type of trial, fitness has helped me through trials. I think you've heard that kind of in the three of us, like the theme of what we've talked about here. So there's so many reasons. I feel like starting a group like this, there's so many reasons and so much purpose behind it. And I don't think this is like another fitness group. I feel like it's unique in the sense that there's so much more behind it. But in that, I can promise you're going to achieve your fitness goals. And we've talked and we've brainstormed and we've come up with this idea to run challenges inside of the group, which will also encourage and inspire real transformation and change, but from a supportive group of women that can link arms and say, hey, we're competing, but in a healthy way. The same way the three of us compete when we go into the gym. We're inspired, but we're like, hey, when Kayla asked me to do legs with her, I'm like, I'll do it. And I'm trying to lift like her, but it's a competitiveness, but it's a very healthy. I just trained legs today, so I can't do it. But it's a very healthy competitiveness. And it's beautiful when women can embrace that with each other. So I've said a lot, but what would you ladies like to add? What am I forgetting?
I think something that's been big for me and that I've really tried to focus on lately as I've kind of shifted things in my social media and just in my goals in life and what this looks like was a quote in a book that I was reading. It said, the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. And so it's really trying to bring a pack of women together who, in a sense, like myself, a year ago felt so alone and felt like I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going, what life was going to look like until I linked arms with other women who were in very similar circumstances and on a fitness journey as well. When you're with somebody who understands and not so that we're not talking about being sad, a sad moment together. I understand that, but we don't want to stay there. And so being in that moment, but then growing from it, thriving from it. Amber said it before, we're coming from the ashes together. And so I think that's the biggest thing for me is I'm tired of women feeling alone and feeling like they're the only one in that circumstance. It's almost like the taboo thing when you talk about miscarriages. I felt so alone in my season of life through that because nobody talks about it until I've said something. And then it's this woman comes out with her story and this one comes out with hers. Well, why did it take me saying something for everyone else to all of a sudden make it feel like this is a normal thing? Because it is. And when it comes to fitness and feeling like you're constantly failing and you don't like your body and you're depressed, you're disgusted by it, whatever it is, I've been there. I don't want you to feel alone. I'm tired of women feeling alone and like it's just them.
I'd like to add to that too. For me, we all have a very unique set of circumstances, and we have all put into play our own routines and what works for us. And we have advice that we can give. And I hate when people gatekeep things. Like, why would you gatekeep someone? Why would you gatekeep a way that someone could improve themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, in every aspect? I mean, what am I going to do with that knowledge? Lay in my coffin with it? Like, I want to share it. I want to prevent maybe some situations that women don't have to go through. Like, hey, watch me trip over this log so you don't have to. I've already done it. And I can tell you kind of what works and what doesn't. And we can just join up over that. And I think that's a very beautiful thing when people gatekeep the secrets and the recipes. And if I tell them, they'll be better than me. We don't care. We want you better.
That's right. And I truly believe that God has aligned the three of us because we come from such very vast, different perspectives. We all love fitness, but we kind of come from a different perspective. Like, I've been so focused. If you follow and watch the podcast and all the things I'm doing on social, like, I'm really into this whole identity shifting, which is the crux of shifting into fitness or any goal, fitness, financial, relationship, it doesn't matter. Any goal that you have, it starts with identity. And that's my big thing right now, although I do know how to eat and exercise, and I'm going to go on my own fitness journey. I'm battling perimenopause. I've said that several times. Just wanted you to hear that real loud and clear for those of you who's struggling with that.
She's asking for grace.
And that's why I lose my train of thought and do all those things. So anyway, Kayla, she's a little bit hard. Like, if you like that, I love being pushed by somebody that I'm slightly intimidated by. I pick personal trainers for that exact reason, because I like someone I'm hard-headed, so it keeps me in line. I'm not saying Kayla is intimidating. She's very sweet, as you can tell. But she's real, very strategic. And I think you've heard that throughout this episode. And then
I don't like for things to be sugar-coated to me. I understand them better when it's black and white. Like, you can tell me I'm out of shape. You can tell me that, and I think that people in general are afraid to be honest with other people because everyone's so offended, or you can do it in a way that's not going to hurt somebody if your intentions are good. You can do it in a way that pushes them to make them grow. And I think that's important. And that's what I look for in a trainer and a coach.
I'm almost upset with my family and my husband, to where it's because when you've been in shape your whole life and then you get out of shape, it's like, no one thought to tell me. No one, because you don't see it. You do not see it yourself because there's pain. There's a lot of other things going on. It's like, no one thought to tell me, like, hey, girl, not a good idea to push over 200. No one thought to say something like, hey, you should take control of this. Just the other day, I told my husband, because we were going to be having people over, lots of kids. So we baked cookies, all the things. I said, hey, if you see me pick up anything that is not my meal prep, I need you to give me the look. And he goes, I cannot. You can't ask me to do that. I said, I'm asking you for accountability right now. And if I told you that I was saving money, you'd be like, hey, and an Ulta order showed up, you'd be like, oh, I thought you were saving money. It's super easy for you to do it in that situation. So in regards to my food, I said, I need you to hold me accountable. And he's like, it's going to be hard. He's like, when it comes to women, he's like, that's a hard thing to ask to do. I said, no, I'm asking you. I need this because I'm feeling weak today. Like, I'm going to go into the pantry and I keep good things for my kid because that's what he likes. And, he can have it. Mama cannot. So, like, give me the look. And he did good. Poor guy. He was scared. He's scared shitless to do it, But that's the thing. Like, I wish somebody just be honest, and if you take defense in the right place,
I love that you said that. I have the funniest story. My parents, I'll never forget, I looked back at vacation pictures and I was in this little bikini and I looked at my mom and I said, why did you let me wear that? I said, I obviously didn't need to be wearing that. Like, look at this. And she was like, she looked me dead in the face and she said, we thought you knew. You can't see it. You cannot see it. Everyone else can see it. I'm not that friend. I'll tell you.
But
I will make you change
but with grace
in a loving
and with
way.
love.
Yes, in a
And
loving way.
I think that's the beautiful thing. Like, and the thing again, and I'll just reiterate this is what really attracted me to Chris when we were in the group together last year. And I saw that in her and just the grace. Like, it was that whole thing that I described with 75 hard, which is, hey, if you don't hit it today, get back on it. Get back on it tomorrow. I'm going to get back up and fight. And again, you're building that mental muscle. And I love that because so many people are either non transparent about it or they fall off and they're like, this fitness stuff doesn't work. I don't want to do this stuff anymore. And I just love the relentlessness behind both of you from two different angles.
Every day is going to look different. It's not going to look the same, but I'm still here and I'm still going. And that's inspiring.
Yeah, I think you just have to be honest with it because, like Amber said before, kind of blaming some things on perimenopause. I did that for quite a while where it's like, well, I had a hysterectomy and I had a couple surgeries after that. And I kept blaming the weight gain and not being able to lose weight on those circumstances until one day I actually went down for a week and I wrote down everything I had been eating, everything I had been doing activity wise. And it's like, this is why you're fat. Like it's on paper. This is why you're fat. You can't make an excuse when it's written down. This is exactly what it shows. And so at the end of the week, I've tried to be very transparent and honest with myself because this is my journey. I'm the only person apparently it's going to be honest with myself and write down and track it and say, okay, how many days did I actually hit it? Because if I hit it every day and I'm not losing weight or I'm not seeing some definition come in, okay, then something might need to be tweaked. After a couple of weeks, so I'm still not seeing it. But if I can look back and be like, girl, you barely hit your macros one day. You're expecting to see results when you were maybe 10 or 20% on, it's got to be 85, 90, 100, And so every week I try to just look back honestly and say, okay, I can't be upset that I didn't lose weight this week because I didn't earn it. And having that honest moment with myself. Mm-hmm.
I want to shift gears for just a second, and I want you guys to talk about what people could expect coming into this group. It's a free group, by the way. And when you come into it, you are going to be inspired. You're going to get community. You're going to get the three of us and all of our fitness experience. And there's years and years of fitness experience here. I've been at this almost 30 years alone. So, and that doesn't count the years these ladies have been in. But from your perspective, let's just go, each of you tell what you're wanting to bring to this group.
What I want to bring to this group is just a level of accountability. And because like you were talking about tracking your food and you were the only one that knew, I've sat there and refused to put on paper what I actually ate. And I just think there are small habits that we can do and that will help us in every other area of life. If you can just start being honest with yourself, it may start with fitness, but it'll go over to your relationships, your family life, your social life, your financial life, your work life. It'll bleed over into everything. And I hope that we can, as a group, come together and create new friendships and share the knowledge that we have. And I expect for all three of us to show up in these groups, and we intend to do this, to show up in these groups and share that at different points and allow people to ask questions and give them feedback. And, hey, have you ever experienced this? Hey, do you know a recipe for this? Hey, this is where I'm stuck on something. Have any of you been there? And we can come together and help find a solution, because what we're trying to do here is help women grow, because too many women just don't have a plan, and we don't want them to waste any more time. This is a new year. We don't want them to waste another year and get to this time next year and go, why am I still in the same spot? Why do I still feel alone? You're not. We're here.
That's right. Amen. Okay, Chris, did you get your thoughts in order? What do you think?
I did. So I think I really want to be a cycle breaker and help women with that in their lives. And playing off of what Kayla said, it's trying to create those new habits and bringing authenticity and just normalcy in. I'm on social media. Obviously, I'm a big consumer. And I see, like I said, those perfectly curated, just even food plates. And it's the avocado toast and the perfect acai bowl and all these things. And you're like, great, now I'm going to be meal prepping for 17 hours and my whole life is going to be consumed like this. I just want women to know there's a very normal way to weight loss. Yes, there's a beautifully curated way that social media can portray it, and it can take hours and hours to do. There's also a very dumbed down, easy way. Honestly, fitness is easy.
Preach.
In the sense
That is not what it looks like.
yeah, like the things themselves, the task, the list, it's a very short list to become healthy, to get into shape. It's a very short list of what you have to do. It's just curating it to fit your lifestyle. And I think because we are consumers and we consume so much, we're overwhelmed. There's so much out there, and you think the food plate has to be perfect and it has to be exactly this. And if it's not that, it's not going to work. And if you don't work out this way and it's not 2 hours long and it's not 5 or 6 days a week, you're never going to get in shape. And then you're overwhelmed, you're depressed because, well, I don't have that time and I'm not that person. And do you see how quickly you spiral? And so I want to stop the spiral and I want to break the cycle and help women do that.
I love that. And I'll just
Love
say
that too.
for myself, the thing that I really want to achieve with this group is I want people to be healthy. I think bottom line is purpose. I want people to understand their purpose in life, whatever that is, fitness or unrelated to fitness. However, how I think fitness relates to that purpose is that by looking like you feel good, looking like, being confident in yourself, by being healthy enough to do the things that you really need to do, by taking control of your health, by taking that, saying, I'm not going to be a victim to this thing, perimenopause or whatever. I'm not going to be a victim to this thing. I'm going to take control of my health. I'm going to figure out, yes, I might struggle for a week or 2 or 3 or 5, but at the end of the day, I'm going to figure out how to fix this thing by talking to other women, by getting expert advice or whatever. Because at the end of the day, I really believe that people, they can achieve that purpose by first accomplishing their fitness and their wellness and their health and grasping all of these things. And I truly believe it's a beautiful thing when people can grasp that and do it. And I think that that is how you are going to fulfill whatever it is, whatever your destiny, whatever the thing is you're supposed to do. And I want to see people heal. And I truly believe, because fitness has been instrumental in my healing, and I've talked to so many people that it's also instrumental in their healing, that I believe everyone should have a fitness journey, as little or as huge as you want it. That's up to you. It doesn't matter. But just get out there, move, do the things that make you feel good, do the things that make you healthy, do the things that's going to make you stick around for the long haul, for your kids, for your family, for your purpose. So,
Love that.
with that being said, we would love to invite all of you guys who are listening, check out our group. I'll put all the information in the show notes. You will definitely get all of this information. If you don't see it, or you're listening to this and you can't get there, then by all means, reach out to us. You know how to get in contact with me here on this podcast, and we will get you all of the information. But we have such big ambitions for this group and just for the impact that it's going to make among women and among our culture and our society and our community. And one other thing that I do want to say is that inside of this group, there's going to be so many resources and different avenues that you can go down. So if you jump in and you're a complete beginner, that's okay. We want you to jump in and be a complete beginner, because we have beginner resources for you. And as we build our resource center inside of this group, you're going to get more resources and more resources. So I want to encourage you, no matter where you're at, it's not just I'm coming in and I'm getting value. The beautiful thing about a community is it's a give take. So I'm jumping into a community. I have my own unique sets of skills and gifts, and people in the world are waiting for me to show up and give my specific, unique skills and gifts. And there's always somebody behind that needs help being pulled ahead, just like I need help being pulled ahead by some people. So I just want to encourage everyone with that, especially in relationship to this group. I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised jumping into the group and seeing the support and the community that we're building there. So come check us out and check out all the resources that we're going to be adding here over the next year or so. And we hope to see you there. You guys got any final thoughts or words?
I would just say, it's iron sharpens iron. And so just as much as, the Navy SEAL Kayla can bring and inspire women, there's someone else out there and she can still learn from me and I can still learn from her and that of Amber. And you can find community and hopefully there's somebody that's in someone's same town and you can have accountability partners to show up and work out in the gym or go for the walk, whatever it might be, that this isn't just us providing information, but it's the community coming together to where maybe there's a good recipe that we haven't learned or different movements and busy seasons and how to interact with kids and workouts with kids and bringing them into it for their health and wellness as well. And so it's a community as a whole so that we each grow as individuals. And so that as coaches, we're growing in the group just as much as the participants in it. So I would just say, keep that in mind. It's iron sharpens iron. And I'm just ready for women to not just get strong physically, but mentally know that they are capable of anything, that they're strong enough to do anything, to go through anything. And when you have that empowerment within yourself and then to bring other women alongside you to feel that encouragement, there's nothing honestly more encouraging than giving somebody else a compliment or encouraging somebody else. Like that honestly makes me feel better when I'm encouraging somebody and I'm lifting up because you're speaking it even more. We're just going to be declaring victory, declaring joy, declaring success over every woman that comes in. And I want them to do the same everywhere they go. So hopefully it's just going to be like a wildfire that spreads.
Yeah. And I think also never stop learning. That's one thing that I pride myself on. I'm forever a student. I walk into everything like I have no idea what I'm doing, even if I have some knowledge of it, because I don't know what I could learn. So come in ready to learn because we're coming in, ready to learn from your experiences as well. You may throw something at us in this group that we haven't heard before, and that's okay. At least you have a community to bounce it off of and a community that's willing to put in time to help figure out things for you. We want to make life easier for you.
And I don't know if we mentioned that we're hoping to do weekly lives. And so that way in real time, you can be asking honest questions and just have real open communication on struggles and successes.
I love that. So if any of those things resonate with you, if you're on a journey of self-growth, of fitness, come check us out. We would love to invite you in and I'll get all the resources to you. But ladies, thank you so much for spending your Saturday. We're recording this on a Saturday. So thanks for spending your Saturday with me and with us and my listeners to just get this message out because it is so impactful.
Thanks for having us.
It's going to be some good stuff. Thank you for having us. Let's go.
Let's
go. 2026.
Stay relentless.
Hey there, friend. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time here with us on Through the Trauma podcast. Your presence means more than you know. If this episode has spoke to you or gave you hope or made you feel just a little bit less alone, then I would love it if you would take a second, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who truly needs to hear it. Every share, every comment, every listen, it all helps our message get out and reach those who truly need it the most. Healing happens inside of a community, and together we are breaking the silence and creating space for transformation. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. You are not alone.